Welcome you to this lesson on quadratic graphs, where today we are talking about solving simultaneous equations on the same axis, right? So what happens is when you draw two graphs, probably your curve and another line, where they meet or intersect, right? They form the solutions for those two equations. So you would have solved such equations simultaneously, right? So if you can see, I've got two graphs here, right? And maybe I draw this line, right? So here, where they are meeting, circled in blue, right, they form the solution for these two quadratic, for the quadratic curve and for the linear equation, right? So those are the solutions. So from there, we are going to see that the question on how to solve simultaneous equations is asked differently, right? So we are going to deal with the first case here, right? The first case is like this. You have got this, probably this is a question that you, for the graph that you would have drawn, right? And they now say is equal to h, right? So they tell you that solve the equation x squared plus bx plus c is equal to h, right? And the question that you have drawn the curve for is this particular question represented by this model, right? And they now say is equal to h, right? So what you have to do is to draw the line y is equal to h, and this will be a horizontal line on the point h on the y-axis, right? And case number two, they also have something like this: x squared plus bx plus c, right, is equal to ex plus f, where e and f are numbers, right? And we are saying you also draw a straight line called y is equal to ex plus f. So this is your equation for the new line, and this is also the equation for the new line. So you are simply taking what is at the right hand side of this equal sign here, what is at the right hand side of this equal sign, right? And so I think I've said this already. Let's continue with our example one that we started, right? And now we want to solve this equation, right? We have solved this equation in the question, right? So the original function, we've drawn the curve for 2x squared plus 3x minus 6. Now you have to solve the equation we solve the equation like we solved yesterday when we were dealing with the roots, right? The day before yesterday, right? But now they now say is equal to minus 3, not is equal to 0, right? So how do you do that? You come to your graph, right? You look at the point where minus 3 is, right? So probably on this y-axis, right? So minus 3 is somewhere here, right? So this is minus 4, minus 3 somewhere here. So when you look at minus 3, you put your ruler and you draw a straight line like this, right? So after drawing your straight line, this straight line, we call it y is equal to minus 3, right? Having done so, don't forget to then give us the solutions, right? Students just draw these lines and they leave it there. You have to then go and see the roots, the solutions for these two equations here, right? So what is x here and what is x here? For me, x is equal to minus 2.2 or 0.7, right? You may pause and draw this so that we are together. Then question number 2. Part 2 says is equal to minus 1, right? So it's very clear, right? You take this as your new line graph, right? So you come here where there is minus 1 somewhere here, right? You put your ruler and you draw a straight line. It has to cut this axis. It has to cut this axis as well as this axis, right? It does not need to end inside this graph, right? So you look again at your solutions. What is x here and what is x here? You may draw, pause and draw this line, right? Tell me, my values are, you label it, my values are these ones, right? So minus 2.5 or 1. Are these your values? What are the differences? Right, now, the last question, I want you to pause and draw this graph, right? I want you to pause and draw this one, right? So this is what you come up with, right? You come where there is 5 here, right? And you draw your straight line. You label it. You're now looking at when it cuts the curve, right? As well as, and you see the value in the x-axis, right? So you find out it's like this, minus 3.15 or 1.7, like that. So you'll be done for that particular question. Then G says by drawing a suitable straight line for y is equal to x is equal to 2x plus 1 on the same axis. Solve 2x plus 3x minus 6 is equal to 2x plus 1, right? So if you see, they are in this question, I have done two things. I have given you the straight line to draw, and I have also given you this, right? So you draw that which you see at this right side of the equation, right? So you come to your graph again, right? Now it's now different because we now have a new equation, right, which has got an unknown of x. So we have to come back to our table of values. You just pick any three coordinates of your choice, right? So I pick minus 1, 0 and 1. So you come and you do this with your equation, you now substitute wherever there is x. I start by picking -1 here, substitute and say y is equal to that, right? And you substitute further, so that's, and then on another one, y is equal to x is now equal to 0. You also substitute and you see that, right? You do that for 1 and you get that, right? So now you can see the new values for y are -1, 1 and 3. So I paste them here at my table of values, right? So now I have got x is -1 and y is -1. So I come to that point, x is -1 and y is -1, which is somewhere here. I mark it, right? Or I plot it, right? And then when x is 0, y is 1. I come again. When x is 0, y is 1. It's already plotted, right? It's already plotted, so there's no need for repetition. And then where x is 1, my y is 3. So I come here where x is 1 and y is 3. So y is 3 somewhere here, right? And you begin to label, to mark, right? Now, having these 3 points, align your ruler with this point and this point, right? Your line has to pass through this point, right? So make sure this point and this point are in straight lines, right? So that you draw a line like this, right? So now having done so, don't forget to label. After labeling, you're looking at this point again and at this point again, right? You may pause and tell me where your line is cutting this axis, right? This is supposed to be the answer, -2,5 or 1.7, right? So having done so, we are now here again, right? You may forget about this part, right? This part here. We are here. I added this question, 3x - 1. So you can see this is the left side, which is the same as this equation, but this new equation, right? I want you to pause and draw this line again. Right, so you're supposed to develop coordinates like this, probably. These are my own coordinates, -2, 1, and 4, right? So from these 3 coordinates, you come and you are plotting your graph. Where is -1 and -2, you plot, right? And where is 0 and 1, again, you plot it somewhere there. It's a repetition though. And where is 1 and 4, you again plot somewhere there, right? Your ruler should be joining this first point and this third point, right? And making sure that your line passes through this second point, right? So you draw a straight line like that, right? So what is x here and what is x there, right? Do we agree that after labeling there, right? So this is what we get, -1.9 or 1.9 is the value of x. Having done so, you are done. Life is easy. You follow this exercise, right?